All right, we are at 10 o'clock here today, so we'll go ahead and get started. So, as first order of business, General Counsel, is there a quorum? Thank you very much. As always, I'm going to do a little bit of reading here to start us off. So, good morning. I am calling to order the January 2025 meeting of the IHCDA Board of Directors. We are meeting pursuant to this board's policy for participation by members of the IHCDA Board of Directors in board meetings by simultaneous electronic communication. This means that only 3 members must be physically present at the site of the meeting, and the remaining members may call in. There will be an audio feed for the general public so that members of the public can listen to the meeting, and there will be a link to the video recording posted on IHCDA's website next month. At the time motions are being made, each board member that makes a motion must state his or her first and last name for the record. The votes will then be tallied by a roll call. I will now take a roll call of the board members to confirm members who are present and their location. So Mark Pasquarella, designee for the State Public Finance Director, Jim McGough, present and in the room. Greg Pauls.
Present in the room.
Bobby Reddy.
Present in the room.
Chad Greiwe. I do not believe we have Chad online or in the room. Andy Place Sr.
Present remote.
Thank you, Andy. Michael Schottmeyer.
Present in the room.
Tom McGowan.
Present in the room.
Thank you very much. All right, we will move to item number 1, which will be the approval of the minutes from December 18th, 2025 board meeting. So board, I take the liberty to suggest that you guys have all read and looked over. I will take a moment here for any questions or comments on the minutes. Hearing and seeing none, may I have a motion to approve?
Mike Schottmeyer, move for approval.
I have a first. Can I get a second?
Tom
Andy
McGowan,
Place, second.
Yeah, we will move with Tom because I think he hit the buzzer first. So we'll do a first. We have a first and a second. We'll now do roll call. Greg Pauls.
Aye.
Abby Reddy.
Aye.
Andy Place Sr.
Aye.
Michael Schottmeyer.
Aye.
Tom McGowan.
Aye.
Mark Pasquarella votes aye. Motion passes unanimously. Number 2 on our agenda, we'll move to finance. We're going to welcome Alan Rakowski, who will present the LaSalle Park Homes Bond Recommendation Memo. Welcome, Alan.
Yes, good morning, board. Thank you. I'm Alan Rakowski, Director of Real Estate Allocation. The purpose of the memo in the attached resolution is to request the approval of issuance of Series 2026 Multifamily Housing Revenue Note for LaSalle Park Homes in a principal amount not to exceed $17 million. The project was originally approved by the board for the allocation of tax credits and bond volume in February of 2025. Regarding the process, the note will be issued on behalf of LaSalle Park Homes Apartments LP. The authority will serve as a conduit issuer for the note, thereby loaning the proceeds to the borrower to finance the rehabilitation of its multifamily housing complex. The note is backed solely by the revenues derived from the development and will not constitute a debt, liability, or obligation of the authority or the state of Indiana. The borrower is proposing the rehabilitation of 150 units of affordable housing in South Bend, with the authority serving as the issuer of the note and additional approval by the board, in addition to the approval of the allocation of tax credits and bond volume is necessary. So the recommendation today is to approve the issuance of Series 2026 Multifamily Housing Revenue Note for LaSalle Park Homes pursuant to the resolution attached, and I'd be happy to answer any questions.
Thank you, Alan. I will pause here. Any questions or comments from the board?
Just one question. Did the sponsor purchase the property as part of the process to renovate it, or do they currently own it?
They currently own it.
Okay.
So they currently own it. It's an existing property that they're doing a full rehabilitation
Okay.
on.
Thank you.
Thank you, Tom. Any other further questions or comments? Hearing and seeing none. Thank you. And Alan, we are ready for your resolution.
Okay. Staff respectfully requests the board approve the following resolution. Resolved that the board approve the Series 2026 Multifamily Housing Revenue Note South Park Homes pursuant to the resolution attached hereto as Exhibit A as recommended by staff.
Thank you, Alan. Board, we have a resolution before us. I will entertain a motion.
Greg Pulse, so moved.
I have a first. Can I get a second?
Bobby ready, second.
I have a first and a second. We'll move to roll call. So go with Greg Pauls.
Aye.
Avi Reddy.
Aye.
Andy Place Sr.
Aye.
Michael Schottmeyer.
Aye.
Tom McGowan.
Aye.
Mark Pasquarello votes aye. Motion passes unanimously. Thank you very much, Alan.
Thank you.
Last on our agenda here of items is legal, and Jennifer Phillips and Robin Dilbeck will now present IHCDA's privacy safeguard. Welcome, Jennifer.
Thank you. Welcome, or good morning, board. So besides being the general counsel here at IHCDA, I'm also the agency's privacy officer. So I'm here to talk to you today about a new regulation about safeguarding personal information, as well as what IHCDA has done to comply with that. And then I'm going to turn it over to Robin Dilbeck. She's our IT manager, so she's going to talk a little bit more in depth about the IT portion of that and training to staff that's offered. So this rule became applicable to IHCDA in May of 2025. It's a federal regulation under the Graham-Leach-Bliley Act, which usually applies to banks. But starting in May 2025, it applied to us as well as other housing finance agencies across the country because of our involvement with mortgages. Essentially what it does, it requires us to maintain an information security program that has appropriate safeguards for personal information. Breaking the requirements down into a little more detail, they are actually much more detailed in the actual regulation, but just to give a high overview. So we need to conduct an assessment to identify risks to customers' personal information. We need to design and implement safeguards to control those risks. We need to test and monitor those safeguards, implement policies and procedures for staff to apply, establish an incident response plan, which is a plan that says, okay, if there's a suspected data incident or data breach, like our systems are hacked, how do we respond quickly to that and make sure we're following the law with how we respond? And then finally, just an evaluation of the overall program on a regular basis. I will mention too that the rule technically applies only to people that are participating in our homeownership or mortgage programs, but most of the safeguards we talk about we're applying across the board at the agency because they're good to have for everyone's personal information. So under the rule, Federal Trade Commission has enforcement authority. There can be fees of $100,000 per violation, and they seem to have quite a bit of discretion with how much they might penalize an agency. And then we also have to report data breaches to the FTC if there are 500 more consumers whose information is breached. And of course, any type of data breach can be costly to an organization. It can hurt our reputation, hurt our people that we serve. So we want to try to avoid those. So I'll talk a little bit about some things that we're doing, and then I'll turn it over to Robin. So these are things we're already doing. We have confidentiality agreements in place that our employees sign as well as our contractors. We use multi-factor authentication in most of our systems, which is more secure than just something with a password that you log in. We have records retention periods for all our records so that we don't, that tells us when we should destroy certain documents so that we don't hold people's personal information forever. And then IoT requirements and trainings, Robin will talk a little bit more about those. And then finally, some things that we did in 2025, particularly because we are, trying to comply with this rule. We established that incident response plan, so we have that. We established a privacy team, so that's just a group of individuals at IHCDA who are dedicated to coming up with ideas for awareness around the agency, making sure we're following this rule and kind of brainstorming ideas to make sure we're continuing to safeguard information. We also established a central email address for reporting suspected data incidents. So this goes to both legal and IT right away. So that way legal gets involved up front. If there are any legal requirements, we're making sure those are followed. And IT can quickly notify our Indiana Office of Technology and shut down anything that's going on in the systems. And finally, we also started a data privacy inventory, and that basically gives us an overview of each system that we have and the types of personal information there, as well as how much personal information is in those systems, so we can gauge what our risk is if there were to be a possible breach. So that is basically it for my part of the presentation. I'm going to hand it over to Robin. So another requirement of the rule is that we have someone identified as a qualified individual, and that's the person who's responsible for ensuring that we have a compliant program under this rule. And that person is Robin. So I will turn it over to her now.
Good morning. I am Robin Delbeck. I am the IT manager here at IHCDA. Part of my role is to work with the legal team and our staff to ensure that we are using best practices to secure any sensitive data that we have. My apologies. Do my screen. A key part of our efforts is to educate our staff in a way that is clear, practical, and empowers them to take ownership of protecting personal information. We share proven approaches with them that will help them to understand the proper way of marking and encrypting sensitive information, in addition to ways to not send information in unsecure areas such as Wi-Fi or unencrypted emails. We also try to communicate the purpose of a complex password, the reason we use VPNs, and the value of the multi-factor authentication. We also believe that ongoing training is key to our success. So in addition to the monthly Indiana Office of Technology trainings, we also provide periodic lunch and learns and learning sessions on new risks that are out there and ways to be successful in noticing those risks and preventing possible issues that might arise. Some of those might come with recognizing a phishing attack, or understanding that if you're on a public Wi-Fi that you should always be using your VPN because that is your security measure. We believe that protecting the data is the entire agency's responsibility, that every member plays a unique role in protecting and safeguarding sensitive information. And so we are purposeful in making security part of everyday conversation and training. And again, we do that by open communication and training. Our goal is that protecting sensitive data becomes second nature. In 2026, we are really working on being successful in creating new ways of innovation and collaboration. We are cross-training. We're doing a lot of public awareness and making sure that we are compliant with GovRAMP. We're doing the risk assessment. As Jennifer stated, we share information on cybersecurity training, understanding AI. We use our IHCD hub, our teams, and our televisions that we have throughout the office to share information so that our team has multiple avenues to obtain this information. That's all I have. Any questions?
Apologize. Thank you very much, both of you, for presenting. Obviously, IT and data encryption is pretty important in today's day and age, and obviously it's just going to continue to grow as being an issue as more and more issues pop up, because obviously the ease of which it can be done. I will pause here for any comments or questions from the board for either of them. Hearing and seeing none, then I appreciate the presentation and job well done. We'll then move to the fourth item here we have, which is an IHCDA update. And Tom?
Thank you, Mark. Thank you, Board. IHCDA is getting ready to take part in the annual point in time count or PIT count. The point in time count is a count that's done to count individuals experiencing homelessness. This year, the count will take place overnight on the night of January 28th, Wednesday. So volunteers will go out the evening of January 28th and during the early hours of the 29th. The count will cover 91 of the 92 counties here in the state. The one excluded from IHCDA participating in is Marion County. We can help, but they do have their own COC and do their own count there. I would quickly like to acknowledge those directly involved here at IHCDA and their hard work and effort with this because of how important this is, directly assisting individuals. I'd like to acknowledge Andrea Ramirez, Daniela Jordan Gonzalez, Jesse Van Hooser, Brendan DeVitt, and Abigail Kornberger. Thank you for your hard work and dedication to helping everybody here and throughout the state. So that's all I have for this week or this month. So thank you, Mark.
Thank you very much. And obviously, that's an important count. Is that tied to anything with federal or is that just a state?
The federal, it goes through the federal, it's all throughout the country. It's the last 10 days of the month of January. So it takes place various times throughout the country. But Indiana this year, like I said, is the 28th and then rolls over until the 29th.
And on top of the kudos for the staff that's involved, I'm assuming operation of this undertaking has lots of volunteers.
Yeah, there's 487 volunteers that were in 2025. So yeah, it's a big piece.
Well, then, I'll just do a preemptive thank you. And I'm sure the board feels the same way for all those volunteers that are going to be out there next week, especially considering I think bad it always is usually around
Yep.
in Indiana, but particularly with the storm coming in. So I appreciate that. I will take a pause here again for any questions or comments for Tom.
Just one quick question, maybe staff could help out, but can you refresh my memory who was doing the Marion County count? I can't remember. What organization? I used to know this and I'm sitting here.
Good morning. Chip.
Chip,
In
okay, that- I
coordination,
guess that makes
yep, with the city of
sense. So they're the
Indianapolis.
coordinating
Correct. Yep. And
Gotcha.
they just sent out their newsletter asking for volunteers as well.
Okay.
So if you have not tapped in, I would recommend searching their website or searching for that newsletter. And for all of us, it's just a reminder, many IHCDA staff are going to be volunteering. This is my first time volunteering for the point in time count, so I'm very excited. And just a huge thank you to the staff. This is a 5-month planning effort, not just with staff, but with our 16 regional councils. So it's a tremendous effort. Yes. Thank you very much.
Thank you. With that, then I will open it up to any other business from the board, staff. Hearing and seeing none, I've been pretty efficient, and I will adjourn at 10:19 p.m. Thank you very much.
Thank you.